Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite episodic podcast, FDL Central. And as most of you already know me, I will remind those that may be new to here that I am KJ and I will be your guide to everything FDL related. However, today's episode, can't do it. I can't do it by myself. I just can't. So I have two wonderful, wonderful guests with me. First and foremost, he's been here for a long, long time. He's a staple here in the FDL community. Please help me welcome my good friend, J Dubs. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Happy to be on FDL Central. I'm getting my one a season quota.
Well, yeah, you're here now. So I mean, we tried to get you a couple weeks ago, but it is what it is. It's fine. It happens. Things come up. But we are very happy to have you here. And also joining me here is the one and only Squirrel. Squirrel, how are you doing?
Not too bad. I'm just glad to be here.
Sound very exhausted, but don't worry.
It's
We
been a
won't
long
take
day.
too much of your time. I completely understand because I've had one of those as well. However, I want to kind of shift the conversation to J Dubs for a second. You've been here since season 1.
Uh-huh.
And here we are in season 5, week 3. When you actually look at compared to season 1 to now and how much bigger FDL has gotten, I mean, what does it say to you?
Well, FDL was created a long time ago by people that wanted to find a different safe haven for Twos League, and that's what it started on. It started eons ago by people who we don't know the name of and ton. But it started a long time ago, and just to see that it started to get off the ground is when I wanted to get on the ground floor of it. And the fact that we have somehow stumbled our way through 4 seasons and into our 5th season it means a lot. As someone that's been here since the beginning, I've been helping out pretty much since the beginning. Maybe a couple weeks into season 1 is when I actually got a staff position, but here I am. I'm one of the congressmen. So not only have I seen improvement in what we do behind the scenes with staff, but also just our community's grown. We have a couple sour spots still, just like every community, but I think that the community's a lot better for it. We have so many people. We have become a place where people want to hang out and stay, scrim, do whatever, and it's really awesome. I couldn't have dreamed for a better way into season 5.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling once you actually step back and take a look at it, especially being here from the beginning when you guys were so small, and to grow to the amount that FDL has. It's actually very very refreshing, if I do say so myself.
I would agree.
Moving on to Squirrel, the one and only, the absolutely goated reserve for the Griffins. You joined us in season 2. You started in season 3, and now you're the captain of the Adept Griffins. Was there a specific reason you marked yourself as a reserve this season?
Yeah. My main reason was I'm currently in the middle of moving to Alaska shortly, in the next few coming months. So I knew I'd have time to run a team, and I wanted to be a captain. Luckily, Cyplot gave me the chance for the Griffins. Unfortunately, didn't know if I can make time to actually play in matches, so I threw myself as the reserve, and I can only sub in for 2 people. A little unfortunate, but hey, here's to a good season, right? Hopefully.
Hey, even still, we really hope to see you out on the pitch. Because watching you play last season compared to seeing some of the stuff that you've done this season thus far, just in scrims, has been absolutely mind-blowing the amount that you have improved. So we definitely hope to see you out on the pitch, even if it is in a reserve position. But
That's definitely the call. That's definitely called. I'm honestly going to see if I can somehow finagle my way into facing the Dragons, because I'm trying to play against Squashy this season. So Squashy's watching. I want this guy to possibly hit a split reset on me if he can. Last time he tried, I ended up saving it.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
It absolutely has. Squashy, if you're listening, you have now been called out. Congratulations. You are the first call out that I have had here hosting FDL Central. You are first. So first for Squirrel, calling somebody out, and Squashy, the first being called out. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into the week 2 results. So if you missed anything, please, by all means, pay attention very closely so then you have an idea as to what is going on here in FDL. We're going to start off with Origin right now. And if you guys are ready, I'm ready.
Sounds good. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, ready.
So let's get into this. First off and foremost, we had the Vipers taking on the Monkeys. The Vipers actually took this one 3-0. Clean sweep. Unfortunately, we don't have any results for the Huskies versus Seagulls as of this time. But the Eagles ended up falling to the Griffins 3-1. Anything you guys want to talk about in this one?
I
Obviously,
personally saw the Vipers Monkeys 3-0 sweep coming, just because Devil Jacob is literally the best Origin player, in my personal opinion. And it's good to see the boys down in Origin getting a 3-1 dub over the Eagles.
J-Dubs, anything from you?
yeah. Well, one, it's unfortunately that we haven't gathered any replays from Husky Seagulls, but with specifically the Griffins Eagles matchup, the Griffins have been, apparent. They're a team that I let one of their players, Bob Ross, through since I'm applications man. And this tracker was pretty good for an Origin League player, and the fact that I think now it's going to be a time to really show what they're made of and kind of prove that tracker right, and it's good to see them getting the win here.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the new guys that have come in that are joining the Origin League. It is nice to see what they can do, regardless of what that tracker may say. Because sometimes a tracker doesn't exactly tell you what your skill is. But either way, that is going to do it for Origin. We're going to slowly transition into Adept actually very quickly, because the Coyotes, J-Dubs, they took on your Rams in Adept League, and the Rams were able to win that one 3-1. Gators taking out the Monkeys in a sweep, starting off 2-0 for the second season in a row. Wanted to point that out there for a very specific reason. The Hornets taking out the Vipers 3-2. That one was a reverse sweep. Just to kind of stir the pot a little bit there. Unfortunately, we don't have any results from the Huskies versus Colts, but we do have results from the Eagles taking on the Penguins. The Eagles took the Penguins out 3-0. They are also starting out 2-0 this season. Unicorns taking out the Griffins 3-1. Dragons taking on the Hydras. That series ended 3-1 in favor of the Dragons. And the Seagulls took out the Owls 3-1 as well. Real quick, I do want to back up a little bit and first of all congratulate your Adept team, J Dubs. The Rams look like a very solid squad this season.
Oh yeah, we're ready to. We only have 2 teams this season, 2 teams for franchise for the Rams franchise, and we're making sure that that's going to count. We're gunning for the top in both.
They was there anything specific going into picking that team? I do have to ask that.
So actually, the Adept team was a little bit of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it, because I had a couple of people that were interested in being captain that fell out. But once I was able to find Yera, he's been exceptional as a captain. I've been able to talk to him a lot recently, where I was trying to make sure that he was comfortable with filling the captain role, as he's a pretty new player or a new person to that kind of responsibility. But he's been knocking it out of the park. His team seems like they have fun every time I pop into a VC while they're playing, that kind of thing. I hyped him up before both or after first match with the reverse sweep, getting Spirit to leave the league. Good riddance. And then
that was funny.
and then
Okay,
it was pretty awesome as well to see. I was able to hype them up before before the match this past week, and they just seem like they're having fun in every call, and that's what we're about here at the Rams. So I couldn't have chosen a better Adept team.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself. But as the host of this show, I have to remain unbiased in my opinions, or at least as unbiased as I can. The other game that I kind of wanted to talk about is the Gators Monkeys game. Kin doing an absolute banger of a job. with these past 2 seasons. But this Monkeys team actually looked very solid on the field last week. Um, Anything from you guys about that? Because that kind of took me by surprise, especially with the improvement from the Monkeys.
I'd say other than I don't know honestly too much about the Monkeys Adept team, but just to speak on Kin's behalf, Kin has been here for so long. He has played in I think he started in season 2. He's either 1 or 2, and he's been someone that's been around this whole time. With he's been on the Gators. I think every season he's been here.
Most of his time
Um,
here.
but he's someone that people have just grown to know as a player and that kind of thing, and it's nice to see that. Before, when he first joined, he was falling into his role, and now he's kind of found it in stride, and that's awesome.
And actually, I'm going to correct you on that one real quick, J Dubs. Ken has been here since season 1.
Season 1, all right. I knew it was
OG
1 or 2.
player.
I just chose the
Damn.
wrong number. Sorry,
So,
Ken.
so, so he's another staple here. Squirrel, any of these games you want to talk about?
Uh, Me personally, I'm honestly kind of surprised that the Dragons only 3-1 the Hydras. I expected that to go to a game 5. If I'm being completely honest. I do get Squashy on that team, and Squashy is a very good player. But at the same time, the Hydras seem to be playing good this season as well. We actually play the Hydras this week, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm hoping that goes to game 5, because I'd love to see game 5. But
Hey,
unfortunately, the Hydras are going to get swept. So sorry.
don't
Sorry for
count.
the game 5.
Hey, don't count your chickens before they hatch. There was a
I'm
couple
going to count
chickens.
all my chickens, alright?
There-
Every
last
single
week,
one.
last week we had a couple chickens counted well before they were hatched, and some of these games kind of ended in a way that I didn't think they would. But either way, again, the gauntlet again being thrown to Squashy.
All
Um,
love Squashy, all love.
hey,
Comes from a good place.
at least it comes from a good place and nowhere sour. But that
No
being
way.
said, that's going to do it for Adept League. We're going to go ahead and move on to Expert, which some of these games, before we fully get into them, came as a surprise to me on how they ended. Let's just go ahead and go through these. The Hornets taking out the Coyotes 3-1. Monkeys beating the Vipers 3-2. Colts 3-0ing the Huskies. The Hydras taking out the Eagles 3-2. That one also went to 5. Penguins 3-0ing the Dragons. And the Seagulls taking out the Unicorns 3-1. J Dubs, any of these really stick out to you?
Uh, for once, I've been involved in Expert League for a while now, just because I was either in Expert League or I have had a team, but I don't have a team this season, so I don't really have a horse in this race. So not really. I have no idea. I'm just gonna be sitting on the sidelines, happy to watch.
Squirrel, any for you?
If I'm being completely honest, I don't really keep up with Expert. So
Sorry,
there's a
sorry,
lot.
Expert
There's
League.
what two? Wow, there's actually a lot of two, three. There's 2 game 5s and almost another 2 game 5. So Expert seems close based off of win losses this week. So hopefully Expert this season it continues this trend. Hopefully all of FDL continues this trend of close games.
Oh, all right. Actually, I looked over some rosters really quickly, and I forgot to shout out my boy Will P or Willip. Don't remember
Will
how
P.
he said. Yeah, Will P. Okay, he was
Maybe
upset
I
at
have
me.
no idea.
He was upset at me when he joined the events team and was said I called him Willip, but he's
Yeah,
on my team, so he's on my events team. So he's my boy. Happy to see him win. That kind of
gotta support the
Hornets
boys.
Hornets able to pick up that win. Um, I will say at the very beginning in the preseason of FDL Central, In other words, the show before Week 1 fully got underway. Um, a lot of people were saying that the Penguins were going to be a dangerous team. Obviously, they have shown that. And then while I was trying to get everything prepared and get everything set up, I actually looked to see who was on both the Penguins and the Dragons. And one of the big ones is farting right now, who was an adept last season, was able to bring himself up into expert. He is a very higher salary, and to actually see the Penguins come in with two semi lower salary players and able to take out the Dragons, that just shows how dangerous that team can really be. With that being said, and I'm not gonna dwell on the Eagles Hydras game only because I may or may not have been a part of that.
Ooh.
But we're gonna go ahead and move on to Star League. J Dubs, this is the most fun league, at least from what I've seen. This is your league.
It is my league.
I say something going into this, but I'm not gonna say a word. We're just gonna go ahead and go through these matches real quick. Monkeys beating the Gators 3-2. Rams falling to the Coyotes 3-2. That was a real heartbreaker to see. Colts taking out the Huskies 3-0. The Hornets beating the Vipers 3-1. And unfortunately, the Penguins get a default win via forfeit over the Eagles. And that's just for informational purposes. Dragons beating the Hydras 3-1. Seagulls taking out the Owls 3-0. And last and certainly not least, the Unicorns taking out the Griffins in 5 games, 3-2. J-Dubs, I know there's a couple of these that you're kind of mad about. So why don't you go ahead and take me through what's going through your head?
One of them I'll say is actually we've mixed a couple wires here. The Huskies beat the Colts in 3 games, not the other way around. So that is the Huskies did win this week. They are 1-1 right now. But
that is my fault.
Hey, it happens. I just know that because I was on the PR team and I was like, also that's my division.
Do I need to give my my YouTube apology? All right, so this is my
Yeah,
apology.
Go for it.
The Huskies actually did win. I misread it because I'm blind. While I was going through trying to get everything prepared, I looked and it looked like the Colts had beat the Huskies. So I'm sorry, Colts, for giving you a free win. Unfortunately, the Huskies 3-2. Okay, I'm done.
All right. So obviously I'm biased towards not only my my conference but my division with the Huskies, Colts, Coyotes, and us. It was a tough loss this week for the Star Rams. Started out with going up 2-0 and then got reverse swept by the Coyotes. That one hurt. But good on the Coyotes. They played a very good series. And they did a good job. Nothing away from them at all. And things happen. We'll bounce back and we'll be back for next week against the Colts, which we'll get to that later. But yeah, that's enough about them. The other side of the pond, as I've been calling it, or the the other division, I don't need to worry about. But the Dragons are looking terrifying, which I don't like. Of course, I only have to play them if we meet in playoffs, so that's nice at least. But then the final thing that I'm just going to say about Star League in general, actually 2 things. 1, chill out. No one cares. We can all stop talking. No one cares. Play the games. That's it. 2, basically everyone that won in week 1 lost this week. With the exception of the Dragons are now 2-0. Penguins are 2-0 with 2 forfeit wins. They're 6-0 right now, but have not played a game. And then the Griffins and the Eagles are 0-2 right now. But of course, just because it's Star League, that's all going to change up when the Penguins play a series and the Griffins and the Eagles will bounce back. The Dragons, we'll see. They're genuinely terrifying. So, yeah. But that's all I'll say about Star League.
I'm gonna 100% agree because I watched that match, the Dragons versus the Hydras, and holy smokes, all three of those players are absolutely insane. Squirrel, do you have anything you would like to add to Star League?
So you had it what Colts 3-0 Huskies, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
it,
it
it,
was the
it
other
has
way around.
it has
Yeah.
recently been changed.
So to go back on that, I was looking through Adept like the replays and whatnot. So it looks like Crusher did input their week 2 match. The Colts did actually 3-0 the Huskies, but in Adept.
Oh,
Unfortunately, they're missing a replay, so I think that's why we don't have a scoreline for them.
good to know.
Well, thank you for the information.
So we're gonna go back a little bit, but
Hey, if
so technically you're not wrong, but you are wrong.
but do you have anything to add for Star League?
I don't want to see any more forfeits. Come on, guys! Like, get your teams together. Let's get these freaking matches going. No more forfeits this season from any team. You don't like to see forfeit wins. I don't care if you're the best team in the league, if you're the worst team in the league, if you just joined, how long you've been here. You do not want a forfeit win or loss. It's just not fair for everyone else in the league. People like to see games played. Me personally, I like to see games played. So if we could, you know, actually play the game, should be nice.
J Dubs as a sitting member of Congress, I am sure you were probably clapping all the way down to what Squirrel just said. But I think all of us here on the desk can agree. Hopefully next week we do not see any forfeits because I say that as we move into Elite League. Um, because unfortunately, on paper, I have another forfeit, but we will get to that here in a
Sad.
second. Um, it was a very unfortunate set of circumstances that led to that forfeit. But that being said, we move into Elite League. We had the Gators taking on the Monkeys, and the Gators took this series 3-1. Hydras taking on the Eagles. This one actually ended in 5. So I want to revisit that one here for a second. Hydras ended up winning that one 3-2. Owls going to game 5 with the Griffins. Owls taking that one 3-2. And our unfortunate forfeit was the Colts taking on the Huskies. It would have been a finals rematch from last season. Fortunately, it did not take place. The Colts ended up getting a forfeit victory over the Huskies. Um, J Dubs, I know you follow some of the Elite League stuff.
Yeah.
Anything you got to say about this one?
Well, Light actually, or Light as in Hydra's Light, played. He's a Star League player and played in the elite match with Feed against the Eagles, and the Eagles did not win. The Hydras came away with the win on that. Which, hey, I was preaching it all last season that Feed shouldn't have been in Star League, and yet here he is. I'm wow, surprise, hada hada hada. Makes sense. Who could have seen that one coming? Definitely not me. Um, but
This is why we like you for the show, because you provide that extra little to factor to it.
Free
who
entertainment.
could have seen it coming? Oh, and a little side tangent for that. My player this season that I think is gonna for that I think is too good for Star is Cheese. Of course, Laggy is the obvious answer, but you know that's such a normal opinion that it's not even worth saying. Everyone just believes that. So that's that's not one I need to say. Cheese is really solid though. I'm genuinely afraid that he's in my division. But back to the Elite League. Chris lost.
Sad.
And that's it. That's all I have to say.
I was just
That's all
about
I
to
have to
ask
say.
if Chris played too. Oh man.
I would imagine. I'll go do a quick check to make
R.I.P. to
sure that
that
Chris
man.
played. Considering
Three
it's
one.
it's
Chris
only
Chris
him.
played. Chris played.
Yep.
Chris did play.
Chris played.
Sag.
Very
Yes.
unfortunate because I picked the Monkeys last week.
Oh,
as
it
well.
looks like Chris might have also used a Star League player because the website isn't recording it correctly. It records just Chris.
Interesting.
Mm.
Chris
Well,
Tuesday morning. Man,
I
built different.
Quack and
I
local. Quack
I
and local. Thanks, robot.
Oh, thanks. See that now.
But
Okay.
yeah, Chris lost, so
Damn.
claps all around. Love you,
J-Dubs
Chris.
is jumping up and down in his seat.
Oh,
Not
I'm
physically,
ecstatic.
but in his head, he is
Oh, I'm
just.
ecstatic. God, I hate Chris. I don't, but it's funny to see Chris lose. You could say the same thing. We lost this week. Fine, but it's funny.
It definitely happens. And luckily, I was able to keep this short enough that we can actually take a little bit of time and maybe talk about, a couple of these games. Because guess what, everybody? It is your
Oh.
favorite time of the day. It is time for some predictions.
Let's go.
Gentlemen, are you ready? Because we have some bangers of matches going to be played this week.
That we do, and that I am. I'm ready to talk about them.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and roll the clock back a little bit. We're going to start with the Origin League. I'm going to tell you guys who is playing, and I'm going to call on one of you. You guys give me your answer to the best of your ability. Keep it as short as you can, but if there is a certain match that you would definitely like to take a second to talk about, by all means, let me know. So here we go. Origin League. Huskies taking on the Monkeys. J-Dubs.
I'll go with monkeys on this one.
Whirl.
I will also go with the monkeys on this one.
And I'm going to be different, and I'm going to go with the Huskies.
Oh, come on.
I like being that guy. I don't,
Fair enough.
I just like being that guy. We got the Vipers taking on the Eagles. Squirrel. Who do you got in this one?
Oh, Vipers, 100% all the way. It's
J-Dubs.
gonna be a good game though. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel that.
Definitely.
J-Dubs, who do you have?
I'll go with the Eagles.
Okay. I'm actually going to pick the Vipers. I think the Eagles have a lot of stuff to work on.
Fair.
But that being said, we go to the last game of Origin. We've got the Seagulls taking on the Griffins. J-Dubs.
Oh, Griffins, definitely. I gassed up Bob Ross. If he loses, then
Squirrel.
Oh, do I even have to answer this? 100%.
You
Griffins,
do, but I think
3-0.
I was going to say
3-0.
3-0.
That is
Perfect sweep.
that is a very
sweep.
bold call.
Griffin
Dang.
Vipers. Griffin Vipers finals Origin League. Calling it now.
That is a very bold call to
Yeah.
make here in week 3, but I like it because we like getting a little spicy here. But I'm going to spice it up even more, and I'm going to say the Seagulls are going to take this one. Only because you guys said the Griffins, and that's my reasoning. And I'm the host, and I can do that. I can
Fair enough.
I can do stuff.
Hey,
we're gonna go ahead and
that
move.
you can.
We're gonna move into Adept League. This one is gonna be this. I gotta be honest with you. I am excited to see these matches because these are gonna be the spiciest matches, and it's only week 3.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and roll through these. Coyotes taking on the Huskies. J-Dubs, we're gonna start with you.
Coyotes on the Huskies. Let me do a quick peek. I'll go with the Huskies here. I like Grandpa and Tubby are on that team. Good friends with both. Nothing against the Coyotes. They have Unsung. He's also really cool. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Huskies.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna have to agree with J-Dubs here. I have played with Grandpa and Tubby and Achilles. I've actually played with all 3 of those guys. And they're all really solid people. Not to down the Coyotes.
No.
But I do see the Huskies coming with this one.
I've got a lot of love for Unsung. He's a really good person. Everybody on that Coyotes team is great people, but I'm gonna have to take the Huskies because they need a win more than anybody else.
Hey, the Griffins haven't won either, right? Don't worry, we'll win this week though.
Yeah, but you guys didn't lose a player, so
Touche.
The potatoes. Moving on from that, we've got the battle of the 2-0s. Or no, I'm sorry. We've got the 2-0 Gators taking on the 1-1 Vipers. Vipers, we all know about. the Rico Sticks combination,
Yeah.
did lose last week.
Damn.
So, Squirrel, who do you have in this one?
Huh. I'm going to give this some thought. uh, I'm going to go with the Gators on this one. It's going to be close. I see a game 5 coming from this, and I see the Gators winning an OT in game 5.
I like that. I like that play. I like that prediction. J Dubs, who do you got for this one?
I was gassing up Ken earlier, but I kind of all right. I find it hard to think that the Gators are going to play their A lineup for the third week in a or the sorry the Vipers are going to play their A lineup for the third week in a row.
They did not week
Oh,
one.
I thought they did week 1.
No.
That must have been. Never mind. That must have been preseason that I saw. Then absolutely, I'm going to be saying there that Rico and Sticks are winning this matchup. I'm going to say Vipers.
I have a lot of love for Rico and Sticks, but I can't. I just Ken is just. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna pick the Gators. Yep.
I'll stand alone on Viper Hill.
Hornets taking on the Monkeys. J Dubs, what do you got here?
Hornets Monkeys. Who's on the Monkeys?
This is why we do our research before. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
Hornets. AJ
That's a
Binky
lot
is a
of
good
players
friend of
to
mine.
remember.
So I'm gonna go with Hornets.
Okay. Squirrel.
I'm going to go with the Monkeys. I think it was J-Man's last season. We in Origins, me and Devil Jacob scrim. I believe it was the Monkeys actually. J-Man's is pretty freaking cracked, not gonna lie. So I do see the Monkeys getting the win on this one.
I can agree that J Mans is definitely cracked, but I'm gonna have to give this one to the Hornets because they did reverse sweep the Vipers last week. So they are this it's the same team that reverse swept Rico and Sticks, the power couple of FDL. Next up, we got the Colts taking on the Rams. J Dubs, I'm pretty sure I already know where your vote's going for this one, but tell me anyway.
Rams for sure. Crusher's a really solid player, but I've got faith in my team.
Squirrel?
No way you're doubting the 1v1 number 2 player, alright? I'm going with the Colts in this one. Crusher, Grimmy, what is that? JB the Shrink.
Yep.
They're gonna win this week. Scoreline 3-1. 3-1. I don't see a perfect sweep, but I do see a 3-1 scoreline going here.
This man's out here even predicting score lines. I just want to throw that out there. So if your predictions come true,
Now, if all my predictions are true, I'm leaving FDL.
that is the most falsified statement that I've ever heard. But that being said, I am going to make J Dubs love me one of these days. So I'm actually going to pick the Rams. Only because I've seen those two play together, and the chemistry that they have is just absolutely insane. They always know where each other are. They always try to do the best to get the ball to each other with passing plays and with making sure that the ball is able to get downfield effectively. And that's one of the big things for a depth league is getting that ball moving effectively. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Rams on this one. Dragons taking on the Unicorns. Squirrel, we're gonna come to you for this one.
It honestly depends on who the Dragons play. If I'm being completely honest. I want to see the Unicorns win this week. I'm going with the Unicorns.
J Dubs.
Dragons.
And I am gonna pick the Dragons as well. Unicorns do look like a very solid squad, but I think the Dragons are going to be able to take this one from them. Owls taking on the Penguins. J Dubs.
Penguins. They're an old franchise of mine. I've seen Scoot. I've seen Executioner. Their third is Crazy Bacon. Yeah, or their captain is Crazy Bacon. Sorry. I've seen them all play. Absolutely.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna have to go with the Penguins. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the Origin Penguins were my first team in FDL, and I had the chance to play with Scooter as our team captain. We made it to playoffs. that year. Sadly, we got first rounded, but hey, I see a Scoot getting the dub this week. Let's go, Scootery.
Well, Squirrel, you shouldn't let that information get out too much because we're going to call you the new Chris with a K getting first
You,
rounded in the
you
playoffs.
can call me what you want, all right? I didn't say so.
I'm actually going to take the Penguins in this one as well. So it seems like it's three for the Penguins. Owls have a lot that they need to work on, and that's why I'm going to pick the Penguins. And plus, I just love Scooteroo. Griffins taking on the Hydras. Squirrel, I know where your vote's going here, but tell me anyway.
Griffins, I'm gonna go. What? mm, we'll say 3-2. I'll say we're going into a game 5, and I see the Griffins coming out with it.
J Dubs.
My instinct wants me to, or my instincts want me to say Hydras, just to be that guy. But I think the Griffins will win this one.
And because I like being different, I'm going to pick the Hydras. They need to get on the board. But then again, so do the Griffins. That being said, I think the Hydras are going to be able to take this one. And finally, the last game for Adept Seagulls taking on the Eagles. J Dubs.
The Eagles have Bondo. It's not even. That's it. That's all you need to say. It's that easy. That's my answer. Bondo. I don't pick the Eagles or the Seagulls. Bondo's who I pick.
For those
Bondo,
of you
just
that don't
Bondo.
know, for
Just
those of
Bondo.
you that do not know, 007 Bondo is a member of the Eagles, so J Dubs is picking the Eagles. Squirrel, who do you got?
I honestly have no clue where this game's gonna go, but I'll go with the Eagles as well.
And I am also going to go with Bondo. I'm going to pick the Eagles as well. Bondo is just cracked on the sticks,
Oh,
and
he's gonna
it's
be
just
he's gonna be so mad watching this bag. He's like, I'm not that good, guys. Okay, all right,
especially
buddy.
if okay, fine. Then I'll change this. I'm going to pick the
Oh,
Eagles because if Bondo plays in the clown car, nobody's expecting it.
Bondo plays in the clown car every time. Oh, hey, look, you already told me
I
to
like
shut
that,
up and chat.
Bondo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Howdy,
Hi,
Bondo.
Bondo.
Speak
Go
of
to
the
Hi,
devil.
buddy.
Hey, let's
You're gonna
go.
do great this week, buddy.
Hey, just be
Bondo 3-0. Let's go.
Bondo 3-0.
Let's go.
Sorry, nothing against the Seagulls. Nothing against them. They're a very good team as well. It's just he's dumb and his shoe is untied, as Debbie pointed out.
Bondo's just built different.
Let's go ahead and move on to expert. We've got the Colts taking on the Coyotes. Squirrel, I'm going to come to you for this one.
I'm gonna have to go with the Colts in this one.
J Dubs.
The Colts.
And I am also going to go with the Colts. I think now that they actually have a team together, I think they're going to do some great things in expert league. Huskies taking on the Monkeys. J Dubs.
Monkeys. I've seen. I played against Jaquittal a couple times. Him and Frank Carnival's have been playing a little bit. Steven is their third now. I think that it's going to be the Monkeys on that one.
Yeah, I just forgot your name. Squirrel. Sorry.
You're good.
I apologize.
It happens. It's fine. I'm also gonna go with the Monkeys on this one.
And I think that's 3 for the Monkeys as well. Frank and Frank and Jaquittal, two absolutely incredible players. They're a lot to handle. Hornets taking on the Vipers. Let's go to Squirrel for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Vipers on this one. Hopefully the Vipers can get the dub.
J Dubs.
Hornets will P, baby. Let's go.
And I am also going to take the Hornets as well. And that's not because I want to agree with J Dubs, but it's just because I think the Hornets are going to be able to win. Dragons taking on the Eagles. J Dubs.
This is a tough series because, of course, Debbie's in chat, and I think he's really good. However, Medler is on the other team, and for a 13-3, that is criminally low for his salary for Medler.
Very agreed.
So I am definitely going to go with the Dragons here.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna go with the Dragons on this one.
And I too am gonna have to go with the Dragons on this one.
Sorry,
Eagles,
Debbie.
Sorry, Debbie. It was in the chat. The only reason why
He's very sad.
Sorry, Debbie.
here's the reason why I say the Dragons, and I will actually give a legitimate reason, is
No.
because obviously, as most of you know, I was in the game last week whenever the Hydras played the Eagles, and the um, they have some stuff that they need to work on, especially with communication wise, and just making sure to not be on top of each other. So hopefully they're able to. If they figure it out this week, great. If not, the Dragons are going to be able to take this one. Yeah, this next one, I feel like I shouldn't give a prediction for. We got the Hydras taking on the Unicorns, J Dubs.
Hmm. This is a tough one. I think your team is really solid, KJ. I also think that Atlas is a pretty solid player. I haven't seen anything out of Bry or the real Guido, the other two players on the Unicorns, and I'm gonna give it to the Unicorns here just to make you mad.
I can appreciate it. Squirrel, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Hydras on this one.
Hey, and I'm gonna have to pick the Hydras too because that's my team. Moving on, Penguins taking on the Seagulls. Squirrel.
Uh, I'm gonna have to go with the Penguins.
Dubs.
Uh, I'm actually gonna go with the Seagulls.
And you guys leave me a split decision. I am going to pick the Penguins on this one because they are such a solid squad. And I'm sorry, but Cyborg Ted is just an absolute beast on the field. That being said, we move from expert into Star League. J Dubs, we're going to go ahead and just start this one off with you. We got the Colts taking on your team, the Rams. Who do you have in this one?
I'm gonna have my own team.
You're going to say the Colts. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move.
Obviously. No, I think that this is gonna be, it's gonna be a match, but I kind of think the Rams are gonna walk away 3-1.
Squirrel, who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Colts, and I'm gonna also go 3-1.
I'm going to say the Rams. You know why? Because I believe in J Dubs.
You shouldn't.
I know I shouldn't, but it has failed me for the last 2 weeks, so maybe it'll help you fail this week.
It's a thought that counts.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
We got the Gators taking on the Vipers. Squirrel, who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Gators on this one.
J Dubs.
That's such a tough matchup. I'm gonna go with the Gators just because Robot's in the call.
And I'm gonna go with the Vipers because Robot is in the call.
Wow.
Oh, wait, actually, let me also say, Vipers, Gare Bear to 15-3 is also criminally insanely low. That is a monster pickup. They are a dangerous team. I still think Gators will win, but seriously, you gotta be careful around the Vipers.
The next game we have is the Hornets taking on the Monkeys. J Dubs, what do you got here?
That's another really tough one because I think Dark and Local. Yes, Local. I'm remembering. There's so many L names. Just sorry, but Dark and Local, they're both really good players. They did not really have a lot of chemistry the last time I played them, but also that was before preseason. So, things change, that kind of thing. If they can figure out their rotations, they're a very, very dangerous team. However, the same thing can also be said for the Hornets because L and Burr are both really good, but they need to figure out how to play together. So, just off of A lineups there, I'm gonna give it to the Monkeys for now.
Okay. Squirrel, what do you got here?
I'm gonna give it to the Hornets.
Okay. And I think I am also going to give it to the Hornets. I think they'll be able to bring this one in their favor. Coyotes taking on the Huskies. We'll start with me this time. I'm going to pick the Coyotes because the Coyotes, and I like Wolves. J-Dubs, what you got?
I'm gonna go with the Huskies here. Cheese didn't play in week 1, and they played last week. So if he plays this week, I think that they'll win. If he doesn't, I think it'll be a tough game, but I think they'll still be able to pull it out. But yeah, I think the Huskies will win here.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna go with the Huskies just because they have cheese.
Because I want to be on my own. Hydra's taking on the Griffins. Squirrel.
Oh, Griffins, 100%. Come on. 3-0. Perfect sweep. Let's go.
I will explain my reasoning in a second. J-Dubs, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Hydras. Shade is Shade still is in existence, and he's funny. He'll win. But of course, that's nothing to take away from the Griffins. Ton is obviously an incredibly good player for Star League, and both Bell and Wolf are low salaries, and they're really solid. So it's the Griffins are just waiting for that moment where they can finally start their season. Because right now it just kind of seems like they're in the lull before the storm, before they just start smashing teams like the Gators did last season.
I am gonna take the Hydras. The Griffins have excellent players on that roster, but I mean it's really hard to go against Senior Shade. Just with the mental, and not because it's the Hydras. Shade is just absolutely incredibly cracked at this game we call Rocket League, and it blows my mind to see some of the stuff that he can do. Owls taking on the Penguins. J-Dubs, what you got?
Well, hey, Owls, you got the chance to make the Penguins play their first match of the season. So do that. I'll be very upset at the Owls if that does not happen. But that being said, the Penguins have not played for the past 2 weeks. The Owls have played both their matches. I think Owls.
Hold
Yeah, we hear you.
there you go. That was weird. I could not hear anything. I'm gonna go with the Penguins on this one.
And I am also going to take the Penguins just because it's going to make J-Dubs mad that I'm going to say that the Penguins are going to start their season 3-0.
Hey, well, that's fine.
Unicorns taking on the Dragons. This is going to be a bloodbath, but I'm going to go to Squirrel first.
I'm gonna go with the Unicorns.
J-Dubs.
Bold. That is a bold prediction. I'm going the Dragons. I'm concerned that the Dragons will not drop a series this season. So I'm going to be going with the Dragons here.
I will also be going with the Dragons. I saw what they did last week, and I'm scared, and I'm not even in the same league. Seagulls taking on the Eagles. J-Dubs.
Eagles. I'll probably go with the Seagulls here. The Eagles, I haven't really been able to see much of them. Obviously, Alpha's on that team, and that's really the only player that I've seen play from that team. But it's not enough. The Seagulls, I think, will pop off a bit with Toucan, Piplup, and they did a trade recently, so they have Murticle now instead of Gabe, and Murticle's a really solid player. I'm gonna go with Seagulls.
Squirrel.
I am also gonna go with the Seagulls.
Okay, and it's hard for me not to show some love, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to be different from you guys.
Fair enough.
Here we go. You ready? Top of the food chain. Elite League.
Roll down to the roster.
Okay. Real quick. This first match, I think we can all safely say on the count of 3, we're going to say what we want to happen.
Okay.
Colts taking on the Monkeys. 1, 2, 3. Colts.
Monkeys.
Oh,
Monkeys. Come on. You cannot go against Chris with the game. Monkeys are gonna get the dub. I believe in Chris. Let's go.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. For the last 2 weeks, I have believed in Chris, and I can't do it for a third week in a row because sometimes third time is not the charm. I'm gonna.
You know what? I'll do it for you. I got Chris. Chris is gonna go get the dub.
J-Dubs, any reason for the Colts?
Oh yeah, no, just to make Chris mad.
I like it. Huskies taking on the Gators. Our second match here for Elite League. J Dubs.
That's a tough one. Huskies have Lottie and Addo, and that's really solid. But also the Gators have Moifin and Twan. I'm gonna go with the Huskies. I don't tend to bet against Addo a lot. He's their reserve, but I still don't tend to bet against him.
Pearl.
I'm gonna go with the Gators on this one.
Split on the desk. I'm gonna have to take the Huskies for this one, just because of Lottie, and with the stuff that he can do. Eagles taking on the Owls. Squirrel.
I'm gonna go with the Owls.
J Dubs.
The Owls actually asked me who they should play last week, and I think they did. I was asleep or I was just about to go to bed, and I got added to a group DM by Folly, and Folly was like, "Join the call," and I was like, "What? What?" He's like, "We're playing our match. Who should play?" And I was like, I'm not on the Owls, man." And I told him Fall in Prosperity. So I don't know if that's happening. If I did, spoilers. If that was for last week, I don't know how you did. Well, wait,
The Owls won last week.
All right, cool. Then I'm gonna go with the Owls.
I am actually gonna go with the Eagles for this one because I don't have a real reason. It's just I just want to pick the Eagles. Hydra's taking on the Griffins. J Dubs. I'm gonna start with you.
Hydras, Griffins. Hydras. You typically bet against feed either.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna have to go with the Griffin. I feel like these games are gonna be like really close. Probably a one goal game each individual one. Hopefully it goes to 5. But if not, I kind of don't want to see anyone get swept. So hopefully at least the Hydras or the Griffins take at least one. Because a 3-0 sweep, yes, it's nice, but I like to see games played.
And I'm actually gonna pick the Hydras, kind of for the same reason as J Dubs. It's hard to bet against Feed, especially with everything that he does on the field. But that being said, though, is that if 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 it does, I think it will go to Game 5, and every single game is going to be a one-goal game because both of these teams are just absolutely insane. But do you two gentlemen have anything you would like to add?
I don't think so.
Squirrel, how about you?
No, not that I could think of. There is one player, or I guess another player that I want to call out. This is a Origin player. I'm gonna call out Devil Jacob because this
Oh.
guy should be in a debt. He is way too good for Origin. Man is way too cracked to be hitting flip resets and showing shots on multiple adept players. Like, why is this guy not in adept? Someone please explain to me how he's only a 10-8.
That is one of the disadvantages of not playing ranked, or you could call it as it is. It is an advantage to not playing much of the way of ranked. But on that note, that is going to do it for us here at FDL Central. Be sure to tune in this weekend for the Week 3 matchups as we inch ever so closer to being halfway through Season 5. I know, it went so quick. Special thanks to my guests this evening, both J Dubs and Squirrel. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out. And to our gracious host, who is always able to make FDL Central possible. That is not me, that is the one and only Robot Man. And he is always here and available for your guys' viewing pleasure. Tune in next week, same day, same time, as we go over all the excitement of Week 3, and we will see you next time.